But you stand maybe knee deep in the surf with its water, this sphere of water floating on the beach itself or next to you, and looking for answers. And you see that the water itself rises up, taking shape and form, and you see on one side a valley start to appear and trees appearing all through this area, and you see that the trees themselves start to take over the cities and swallow them up, and then the water crashes down again, and then again the water rises up, and you see creatures come out of the ground itself, pulling themselves out. And the forest meets the creatures, and the two clash in a battle of waves and water, as it represents this. But as to which one of those two happens, you're not sure. Alrighty guys, so you have just killed, or I don't know how you killed Ashtahem, but yes, you guys sucked him into a stone. I'm not sure how that worked, but
you did a vital strike on him and killed his killedness.
Yeah.
We're standing there with the remains of his undead that he summoned.
So we're dead, and we killed someone else who was dead.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm clutching my son. He's in my arms. My hand is through his matted hair, and I just cry out like Kurt, going, "Come!" Except I go, "Ashtorm!" and radiant divine energy of dark, slithering, smoky, silky oilness shoots out from my body, and enlivens the undead even as they lay fallen.
Pull themselves up.
That's right, and they rise around me and stand as four guardians. That's right.
How many were there?
There were like
seven.
There were four that managed to do that. The rest were...
You broke quite a lot of the bits of them, so I've had to cobble them together.
Gaffer tape.
Gaffer tape.
So now I have four
gaffer taped undead.
cursed zombies.
Alright.
As my buddies.
You're a little undead troop now, aren't you?
I do.
Well, including you guys.
So there's us, and we're not really sure what we are. There's two ghosts, and there's four zombies.
Fantastic!
We
what a cool
ass.
group. Not often do you get this kind of group happening.
I'm
for
angry.
Good reason.
I'm angry.
All right, you move away from where Ashtahem was trapped against the stone and move out along the path.
Slightly in slow motion.
The mist parts around you, and then it speeds up.
That's right.
And you move through the mist, and as you turn around the side of the mountain, the mist clears, and you look down, and you can see that the ocean stretches out before you. You can see the what used to be the river, the dry valley, snaking its way down out of the mountains and heading towards where it would meet the sea. And there is a small settlement just out where the estuary is. Just a really small town, just connected onto the side there, where you could just make out a few fishing boats. And you guys make it down there. You don't need to rest. No. You don't need to eat.
My undead is non-tiring. They can walk through light and darkness.
You walk untiringly down the mountain, or just roll and heal yourself.
It's slightly slow.
Yeah, just jump.
When do I rest and regain spells and things, or does it take a night to get there?
It does. It'll take you a night to get there. Where you seem to, with the rising of the sun, it sets your magic.
My purpose is renewed.
Yeah. And it takes you a couple of days to really get down out of the mountains and then head down through this valley. But eventually you do. You make it down closer and closer to where the ocean hisses and spits and seethes against the coast.
Stony beach?
It is a stony beach.
Are there birds?
Well, it's a sandy stony beach according to this map that I happen to have.
Excellent. Are there birds?
There are birds, seagulls, and a dodo.
I can do a dodo.
A dire dodo. Because that's what they sound.
Very clever.
No one knows.
No one knows.
The ocean stretches out before you, and you walk down through the valley, I imagine.
Yes.
The water comes into where this river used to meet, but it's just dry from most of the way. Up on the cliff area, there's a settlement, but down at the bottom there are boats that are out into the water fishing, and there's one man standing out in the surf with his fishing rod out there fishing away.
Just walks up. Why are you walking in slow motion? I don't know, it just felt right.
What do you want to do? Walk out further and see what's out there?
So we're still on land.
You're still on land, but I
Where's
should
this-
say that out in the
spotted
water,
the statue?
an island is risen up, and there is carved out of the one side of it. You can see that there is a picture of what maybe somebody imagined Ava would look like, and her hands are clasped, and you can see the fingertips just out of the water. The hands are clasped there, and not holding anything, and her head is bowed. Was probably quite a beautiful statue, but the centuries have passed, and the water and the weather have slowly worn away a lot of the features that make her up.
Jataya, do you think this is the statue we're supposed to deliver?
I don't see any other statues provided to us.
Oh, you want the one down the road?
Oh, there's three of those.
The three sisters, they call them.
I'm going to right. We pause on the beach, looking out to sea, considering the truth and potentials and consequences of our actions. And I'm going to call on the gods that I have known up to this point, because I'm about to take a step off into the unknown, a leap of faith. And I'm going to cast augury, and I will be told if the action we're about to commit, which is to put the orb of water into the hands of the statue, will be a wheel, which is good results, woe for bad results, or wheel and woe for both, good and bad, or nothing. Now,
It's the most subjective thing ever.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all I
isn't it?
get. The base chance for receiving a meaningful reply is 77%.
Alright. A meaningful reply. How could it not be meaningful?
Well, you can lie to me.
Oh, okay, cool. Now, do I roll privately?
You roll privately.
So,
I'm going to stand there.
70%?
77%
77%.
of success. So I'm going to ask, am I walking the straight path?
To these gods that you may have abandoned.
That's right.
Fantastic. Alright.
If the spell fails, I get nothing as a result. I get silence.
How does the spell fail?
If I fail that percentile check.
So, wouldn't that be lying to you?
No, sorry, it's not lying. That's not correct. I get nothing. So nothing is an answer which says the actions are neither good nor bad. But that's what I get if the spell fails. So I don't know.
You stand there concentrating, connecting with the gods that you once worshipped and perhaps still do to some extent. Everybody, I guess, gives you a wide berth, and the skeletons play in the sand, make sandcastles. Wait. But you stand maybe knee deep in the surf with its water, this sphere of water floating on the beach itself next to you, and looking for answers. And you see that the water itself rises up, taking shape and form, and you see on one side a valley start to appear and trees appearing all through this area, and you see that the trees themselves start to take over the cities and swallow them up, and then the water crashes down again, and then again the water rises up, and you see creatures come out of the ground itself, pulling themselves out. And the forest meets the creatures, and the two clash in a battle of waves and water, as it represents this. But as to which one of those two happens, you're not sure. I rolled over 70. Sorry.
That's fantastic.
I'm so glad you did.
Jataya,
Yes.
we are at a point of decision. Though perhaps we decided long ago, and there is no need to hesitate. What does your heart tell you?
Well, it's not beating, if that's what you mean.
Let me check.
Surely. What choice do we have? It seems destiny has played our cards for us.
Yeah, and I think that perhaps this is the only way that we can regain our vitality, is to do the bidding of this god. And perhaps we will be rewarded with life.
Life is something I value. But what about the life of my son?
Who knows?
That's a good point. If you're alive, will you be able to see him ever again?
But
Perhaps
perhaps...
he be brought to life as well.
Yeah, perhaps we can pray to this god.
Okay.
Do you want to make a religion roll?
Lots 26.
Whatever bargain was made with Ava, as far as you know of the gods themselves, it wouldn't extend to those outside of the two of you. So the chances of you staying with your relatives, well, you might see them, but they might see you, but you wouldn't be able to see them. So that would be the choice of life: is a life without them, or
I hold hands with my son and look into his eyes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Are you ready to abandon your brother, Jataya, yet again?
I don't know.
what are you gonna do?
Damn it all.
What is
Life with no loved ones,
or
or death, eternal death, for the rest of your existence.
well, and the thing is that I don't think that Ava will continue to animate us should we fail.
No, that's right, yeah.
So it's not really a choice we actually
That's
have.
right.
I don't think.
Well, are you animated by it? These things are mysteries,
Yeah, they are.
wrapped in enigma.
We have been manipulated, but it is not our fault. The course of history is twisting and turning despite us trying to hold on to it. And this is certainly at the very least the lesser of two evils. She is a power of life and of vitality and greenness. And besides, I'm sick of all this sand. Come, Jataya.
I'm going to try holding my breath and see how long I can hold my breath for as a not actually living, no heart beating creature.
Cool. So about a couple of hours later, you start to get a bit bored.
So we can just walk there along the seafloor.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Like Pirates of the Caribbean. We don't actually need to swim or find a boat or anything complicated. We can just
and
walk to the island.
maybe just any of your crew. at all.
Let's do it!
All
I put
right.
my arm around my brother in crime, and we
We just walk into the ocean.
into the ocean.
Cool. All right. You walk out of the ocean, and it's a wonderful thing. You've never experienced anything like this before.
Yeah,
Have
this
you
is
learned to
awesome.
make swim rolls or anything.
That's lucky.
But as you come up onto the island area, as it rises, moving past octopi and fish and coral reefs,
Wading through reeds.
and a fisherman who just gives you strange
Seaweed.
looks as he sits there fishing into the surf.
Watching skeletons and
you
zombies.
My zombies come with me.
You emerge up towards the island as it rises, as the land rises up out of the water, and you come up. The all floats overhead, doesn't even touch the water. It just follows you, which is a strange sight of itself. And you arrive there where the hands are outclasped and just touching the water's edge. And you reach up and grab it for the first time.
Yeah.
And you touch it, and you feel the rippling of the water on this thing. And you
draw it
place
down.
And you place it into the hands of the statue itself. And for a moment, nothing. And then the hands clasp closed on this thing, and it drops it down into the water. And when it drops it, it's like the heaviest object in the world dropping into it, and the explosion of waves rise up into the air, hundreds of meters into the sky, and there's a rumbling sound as the water parts around you, and you see down through the valley that an answering explosion of water rises up past the mountains.
Cool.
And the whole place begins to shake. Water crashes down all around you and surrounds you completely, and you don't need to actually hold your breath or anything, but you move up to the surface to see what's going on, and water rushes down through the valley, just washes away the town that was above there, and completely swamps the entire countryside. Trees burst up on either side, completely destroying any of the buildings that were left, and the whole place starts to grow all around it with grass and
Cool.
foliage and shrubbery.
Oh, I liked that tavern.
Water from out to sea, a tidal wave crashes down to meet this water as an answer to it, and they smash together, and you guys are tumbled and tossed into the waves.
Thanks.
And you feel yourselves just spinning, and up and down become meaningless concepts to you. You hear a voice in your head as he shifts. You have released me. Make your request. Life or death.
Life.
So be it. And you feel the water go straight into your body, and it's down your throat, and it seems to just spill out through your whole body, making contact with your skin inside, and you feel the energy just pulse through, and your heart starts beating, and you feel the
Now we need
energy.
to breathe.
And you're underwater trying to get up. Make a roll to see if you can breach the surface.
Is this a swim roll?
This is a swim roll to see if you can break through.
19!
You pull yourselves up and burst out, and so do you.
14.
You both burst up out of the water as the waves are still just rocking, and the ocean is churning, and you splutter out, and you're on the surface itself.
Woohoo! Surface of the ocean or the river? I'm not
Surface of
really
the
sure where we
ocean.
ended up.
The ocean itself.
Okay.
You're in the estuary between the two, in the brackish water of the two as they meet.
Swim to shore. To the shore.
You
I swim to
splutter
shore.
and swim to the shore, and even as you step out there, vines are growing up and along the surfaces of everything, and this whole place is being transformed right before your eyes.
Is the town gone?
The town is completely
The
gone.
fishermen?
The fishermen are completely gone. The whole place is completely
Wow.
devastated. But life has returned to the desert of Anduin,
Wow.
and you guys are responsible for it.
Woohoo! I don't know how I feel about all this.
Am I undead pulverized?
Your undead are completely lost to you, as is...
I call out for my son. Irith!
And if he's there, he gives no reply.
That was spooky.
The
End.
Well done, guys. Good job.
Oh, thanks, John. That's awesome.
Wow.
Craziness.
Wow.
I would have thought killing characters would be so much fun.
Yay!
Yeah.
That was
Temporary.
amazing. Very, very cool. Fantastic
Done.
game.
Bizarre.
The
Bye, everyone.
Stage is
Bye,
set.
thank you.